class. For the final summary, I decided to expand on chapter 32 by doing a presentation and research on a new subject. I touched on it a little bit last week. I spoke about Bangladesh, but now I would like to go into it a little more deeper. So my topic for today is fast fashion. So what is fast fashion? Fast fashion is the fast production of clothes, change of trends, and delivery of clothes. By fast production of clothes, we mean clothes that are put out for sale every single day. And fast change of trends is, like, we live in a society where fashion is always trending. There's micro trends, everything's always changing. Like right now, amongst my age demographic and younger, I'm 22, so adolescents basically, bows are really trending right now. If anyone has caught on to that, little things like that. And so people are just mass consuming things that have bows, little things like that. A few years ago, it was like pineapples on things and then strawberries on things, and now all these clothes are probably in a landfill somewhere because it's out of fashion. It's no longer a trend. And fast delivery of clothes is how easy it is to buy something online and get it delivered to your house. Like with Amazon, you can literally just press a single button and it'll show up to your doorstep within a week. So why is fast fashion bad? This is targeted mostly to people who mass consume, so I hope this doesn't offend anybody who does have to buy from these places. I've bought from these places. It's more targeted towards those who can shop sustainably but choose not to. So fast fashion is bad because of mass production, unethical working conditions, environmental problems, low quality clothes, and mass consumption. And again, under environmental problems, the carbon emissions that are emitted from this mass production. Unethical working conditions means how there are garments being made for a very cheap price. So that begs the question, are the workers who are making these clothes with their hands being paid a fair wage? For instance, you could probably buy some things online off websites like Romwe, Shein, that are crochet, but you can't make crochet with a machine. That's handmade, and these pieces are going for less than $10. So how are these people making enough money and mass producing these clothing items? You have to think about that. And are these people being treated fairly at their place? What are their hours like? What are the working conditions like? Low quality clothes. A lot of these clothes are produced with synthetics, so it's clothes basically made out of plastics, so that's not going to last you a very long time compared to a clothing item that is worth probably more than people can afford, but it'll last you years instead of one run in the wash and you already see the threads peeling off. So what are the major brands that contribute to fast fashion? The first one I'm going to talk about is Zara. Zara produces 12,000 new designs every single day on their website, and they manufacture more than 450 million clothing items every single day, just this one company. Second company is H&M. So it was found that H&M failed to pay 850,000 garment workers a living wage. This is primarily from countries like India and Turkey, who earn about a third of the estimated living wage. The brand has made efforts and has promised to do better. However, studies show that a lot of what they've done is greenwashing, where they really appear to be more environmentally friendly, but when you look into it more, that's not exactly the case. I'm pretty sure they have an eco line, but it's just made with a little bit more cotton, but it still has a bunch of synthetic materials. The next brand we're going to talk about is Shein. I'm sure probably everyone who's online has heard of Shein. It's probably the most villainized company out there when it comes to fast fashion. Shein produces more than 500 products on their website every single day. The problem that makes Shein probably, it's not worse, but more controversial, is because of the price of their clothing. They have probably, Shein, Zara, H&M, Forever 21, all these companies probably have the same quality of clothes. However, Shein has it the cheapest, meaning that people will buy more likely from them because it is the most affordable. The next company is Forever 21. Clothes from Forever 21 are almost exclusively made with synthetic fibers, which are not biodegradable, and they cannot be recycled after use. The final company I'll be talking about is Uniqlo, probably pretty popular here in New York City. A study found in China found that their workers were repeatedly unpaid for overtime and that the working conditions were deemed dangerous. So next we're going to talk about what countries are the most affected and how are they the most affected. For my studies, I found Bangladesh, India, China, and Indonesia were the most. Low-income countries are primarily used for their cheap labor. According to Fashion Checker, a system created by the Clean Clothes Campaign, it found that 93% of the brands it surveyed failed to pay their workers a livable wage. Bangladesh's excessive waste is dumped into bodies of water. If you Google the Bangladesh clothing river, you'd see that it's an old river that's dried up because it just has clothes in it, no more water. And sweatshops in China. It's important to note that these countries are not just using unethical working practices like this, especially a lot of misinformation about China. China does have appropriate manufacturing factories. It's just certain places that do have sweatshops. So I know a lot of people automatically assume if something's made in China, that means something is suspicious. That is not the case. Even with these other countries like Bangladesh, India, China, and Indonesia, there are manufacturing companies that do it right. It's only these companies that take advantage of these low-income places that they can exploit the workers. So just important to clear that up. What are the alternatives to fast fashion? Again, like I mentioned earlier, this is not targeted towards people who have no other choice but to buy things from there. There is no judgment or shame there. It is just about being educated as a consumer of where your clothes is coming from and what it's doing, you know? So you can consume less, buy the essentials, buy what you need. Because again, like these $500,000 hauls, no one genuinely really needs like 50 pairs of skirts, you know, that are made in the way they are. You can shop secondhand at thrift stores or using apps like Depop or Mercari, and you can support sustainable businesses if that's more within your range. I know a large part of why some people support these companies is because of sizing inclusivity. A lot of places that make less affordable, higher quality clothing do not offer inclusive sizing, so that leaves people with no other choice. And again, there's no judgment or nothing wrong with doing that. It's just important as a consumer to become informed of how you're consuming. Final thing I wanted to mention was Chile's Atacama Desert because I thought it was insanely interesting. Look at these photos. It's insane that this exists somewhere on our planet. It is the driest desert on Earth and is being used as a dump ground for garment. Fun fact, this place most closely resembles the desert on Mars. This place has become such a problem that the United Nations has termed it as an environmental and social emergency for the planet. It's also earned the nickname of the Great Fashion Garbage Patch, and if you're familiar, this is a play on the ocean Great Garbage Patch. In 2022 alone, this place has gotten 44 million tons of clothing dumped since then. So that number is only going to keep getting higher because people can now see this as a dumping ground. And as we learned in like a previous chapter about littering, people are more likely to litter in litter safe zones. You know, like if there's already litter on the floor, people are more likely to contribute to that litter. Whereas if a place is really clean, they're less likely to litter. So seeing this, people are probably going to get the idea that it's already like super messy and gross. Might as well just keep making it worse, you know? Which should not be the correct mentality to have, because if you look at these photos, it's kind of disturbing. And a lot of these clothes are a result of fast fashion.